أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمد صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهداه إلى يوم الدين. فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. ربي لا تؤاخذني مما يقولون واغفر لي ما لا يعلمون وَجَعَلْنِي خَيْرًا مِمَّا يَظُنُّونَ. Amma ba'd. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Welcome to the house of dua, and welcome to the channel from which to learn about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, about His creation, about His message, about His messenger, and of course about His chosen religion known as Al-Islam. And welcome to the channel from which to learn how to live and be happy in the world we live today, and how to return back to Allah for greater happiness and success on the day of accountability. And of course, welcome to another blessed day of Jumu'ah. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, listen to this presentation. وقال الله تبارك وتعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. O you who have believed, O you believers in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the only one to be worshipped, O you believers in what Allah has created, believers in the angels created by Allah, believers in the messengers that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to mankind, as well as the prophets, believers in the books revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, including the Quran, believers in the day of judgment, and believers in preordainment. Good or bad that happens to us comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. O you who have believed in all this, fasting in the month of Ramadan has been prescribed for you, as it was prescribed for those who came before you. It is prescribed for you not as punishment. Yuridu Allahu bikumul yusra, wala yuridu bikumul usra. Allah does not intend to make life difficult for you. That's not why He says you should fast in the month of Ramadan. Indeed, He desires ease for you. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded you to fast in the month of Ramadan, la'allakum tattaqun, so that you can attain piety with Allah, so that you can attain the love of Allah, the fear of Allah, so that you can attain and maintain a good relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that you can earn the forgiveness of Allah. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, fasting in the month of Ramadan has been prescribed for you and I, as it was prescribed for those who came before us. But you will agree with me that fasting in the month of Ramadan in the year 1445 after the Hijrah of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, fasting this year is unique. It is in many material respects different from the fasting we have been doing in previous years. We are now in the last few days of the month of Sha'ban, which means the month of Ramadan will set in the next few days. At this time of the year, when the month of Ramadan is being expected, we as believers are usually filled with excitement and great expectation. But today, the picture is different. The picture is different because most people are expecting the onset of the month of Ramadan in the year 1445 after the Hijrah of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam with a great deal of trepidation, fear, and in fact, anxiety. Anxiety as to whether or not they will live through the month of Ramadan. Anxiety as to whether or not they will have the means to fast in this year's month of Ramadan. It has never been so like that. It has never been so in the past. There is a palpable fear in the entire atmosphere in the Muslim world. What are the reasons for this? First, most people are struggling across the world. The means of living are becoming scarce and even more scarce, unattainable. The cost of living is hitting the sky roof. Most people are not able to put food on the table for their children and themselves. And most people are not sure of tomorrow. Therefore, there's anxiety in them. Can we make it to Ramadan? And can we make it through Ramadan? This is the palpable fear in the atmosphere in the Muslim world today. Like it or not, this is a reality. It has never been so bad. Another reason is most Muslims across the world are watching the television and seeing their brothers and sisters massacred in Palestine. Children, women, the elderly, even pregnant women, even preterm babies, hospitals, schools, and places that were otherwise supposed to be shelters for those who are facing crisis have become subjects of bombardment as a result of the conflict between the Palestinians in Gaza, led by Hamas, and the country known as Israel, led by Benjamin Netanyahu. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, the last 4 months have been horrific, to say the least. And those who are watching this, especially among the Muslim world, they are watching helplessly. And they see their leaders, the Muslim leaders of the world, especially the Arab world, they see them watching helplessly and voicelessly, and to some extent, flying across the world in robes, dining and whining with those who are slaughtering Muslims in Palestine. This has become a source of anxiety for Muslims across the world. And many people are asking the question, when shall it end? How are we going to live through the month of Ramadan, a month that's supposed to be a month of peace, a month in which the Holy Quran was revealed, a month that is supposed to be a month of barakah? How are we going to live through this time? People are asking questions. How? My dear brothers, my dear sisters, without doubt, many people are going through a great deal of difficulties across the world, and especially across the Muslim world. There's a great deal of disparity between life in the developing countries and the life in the Western countries, known as the advanced countries of the world. Therefore, if we are to provide a solution, or at least an immediate remedy for this predicament, those of us who live in foreign countries must see themselves as a beacon of hope for those who are in the developing countries struggling to fast, helping one another, coming together with our hearts, stretching out your hand over to help your neighbor, your brother, your sister, your friend, your fellow Muslim brother and sister. Giving a helping hand is one of the ways we can go through this. It has never been so bad. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Ma'idah says, وَتَعَوَّنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَعَوَّنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. Help each other in attaining piety and righteousness. Do not help each other in attaining sinfulness and transgression. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, helping one person or two people or many people fast in the month of Ramadan aptly fit into this commandment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I therefore call on all of us to be ready to help one another. The Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, in one of his hadith says, Ku anfusakum, save your soul against the punishment of Allah. Allah be shake it tamar, even if it's by half a date. In other words, go ahead and help those who are in need, even if it's as little as sharing a half a date or an egg with them, for that will save you from the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm therefore using this opportunity to call on those who have enough to take care of themselves, to remember those who do not have at all. Take a look at your neighbor. Take a look at your friend. Reach out to your fellow Muslim brother and sister at this crucial moment. Turn yourself into an agent of help for those who need help, so that all of us can fast and fast well in this month of Ramadan. Don't be like those described by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Baqarah. Those la yastati'una daraba fil ardi yasabuhumul jahiluna aganiya amina atafufin ta'rifuhum bisimahum la yasaluna an-nasa ilhafa. Those that, even though they are in distress, you think they don't need help, when in fact they are in distress, but they don't want to show it. Only the foolish, ignorant people think that they are doing well and therefore they don't need help. Many people fit into that description nowadays. They hold back. They don't want to come out openly and say, you know what, I need help. Take a look at their faces. You will identify them near you and help them. Do not complain about your condition so much just because you look at somebody above you better than you. Take a look at the one whom you are better than. The Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam says, Unzuru ila man huwa ta'atakum, wa la tunziru ila man huwa fawqakum. Take a look at those who are below you, you are better than. Not always take a look at those who are better than you, above you. That's the only way to strike a balance. There are people you are better than. If you think it's a lie, just step out of your gate. At the convenience of your home, you will find out that your neighbor is in distress. The month of Ramadan brings Raham. And Surah Al-Fatiha, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, one of the characteristics of us as believers is Ruhamahu bainahum. We are merciful towards one another. This is the moment for us to show that mercy. Let us remove this anxiety from ourselves and help one another to fast in the month of Ramadan, 1445, after the hijrah of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, in spite of the difficult circumstances we are facing in the world of today. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, it's a very, very terrible situation, and I cannot forget to stress it. Coming to how we're going to help ourselves, as I said, take a look at the neighbor near you. And in particular, those of you who live in advanced countries, there's no gainsaying the fact that £1, $1, €1 means a lot to those who live in developing countries. Therefore, do not consider it too little. Send it across to your brothers and your kids and kins and your friends across the developing countries for them to be able to put food on their table. What about those of you who have been waiting to pay your Zaka in the month of Ramadan? The month of Ramadan is around the corner. Turn your Zaka into words of support and goodness for those who are in need in the month of Ramadan. You can use your Zaka to support more than one person. You can split it among 20, 30 people, especially across the developing world. And if you don't know how to do it, go to those who know how to do it. For example, at the House of Dua here, we can humbly assist you in doing that. Go to houseofdua.com and click on the Zakat button. You will be able to pay your Zakat. Or go to any other institution that specializes in this, so that your Zakat will be of tremendous value to those who are in need into this world. Allah says in Nama Sadakat el-Fukara, wal-Masaikin, wal-Amilina alayha, wal-Mu'allafati qulubuhum, wa fi rikab wal-Garimin, wa fi sabilillah wa ibn sabil, faridatan min Allah, wallahu alimun hakim. These are those who receive Zakat, the poor, the needy, those who are in charge of distribution, those who are in bondage, those who are overburdened by their indebtedness, those who are cut off as a result of their travels. These are the categories of people we need to help at this time. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help you as you help others. May Allah increase us in goodness. وَتَعَوَّنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَعَوَّنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. What about those of you who do not have the cash to help others? You can help others in kind. What about your foodstuff in your area? Take a tube of yam, or a bunch of plantain, or a cup of groundnut and rice, or a cup of couscous, or amala, or any other thing, or a bag of water. Send it across to those who are around you to help them to attain the goodness of fasting in the month of Ramadan. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept our fast in the coming month of Ramadan. Don't lose hope. Be ready to fast as usual. But fasting in the month of Ramadan this year, definitely, because of the circumstances we are going through, we attract more reward than it was in the past. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enable us get to the month of Ramadan and fast in the month of Ramadan. Allahumma barik lana fi Rajab wa Sha'ban wa balikna Ramadan. Oh Allah, grant us the goodness of life in the month of Rajab and Sha'ban and sustain us to the month of Ramadan. Ya Allah, accept our deeds. Forgive our sins. Bring peace to this world. Bless the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. I ask Allah to bless you and bless me and bless everyone who tread the path of the Prophet in the world we live now, and those who will come after us who will continue on that path on the day of accountability. ربنا تقبل إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت الغفور الكريم سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.